just you. My reason for living, my ups and downs, I will love you until the end of time. I will love you until the end of time. Mama, sweet mama, 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 sweet mama, mama, yeah, mama, sweet mama, mama, I will love you until the end of time. I will love you until the end of time.
Hello. This is how we're going to start it today. Welcome, everybody. Please invite everybody you can invite here. You are on the most important platform. Today, we're in the planet Mars. We're not in Pluto. We're climbing up.
We're in Mars.
Yeah, we're in Mars today. Welcome to GeesBeeCee Women with Words. Another Thursday. Hello, Agatha.
Happy Friday Eve.
Yes, happy Friday Eve.
One more day to the weekend. How you doing?
Doing well. Absolutely. We wanted to, of course, we want to pay homage to Miata family, the author, the artist of that song, Mama, Sweet Mama. This is Mother's Day week.
I like that song.
Yes. We're celebrating all mothers, whether you're biological, non-biological, whether we saw you as a mom, you can't pick me as a child. You follow Agatha, your daughter.
Okay.
Everybody.
I too young. I can't have a daughter. I too young. But I gotta give you props though. The video that you put together is very beautiful. Especially the one with me and my mama. You know I love my mama.
I know.
But my second favorite one is Auntie Beauty and Isaac.
That's Monty.
I just love that kid.
Oh, I said that's Monty. I said anyway, welcome to the show. Eva is off today. We're talking about Eva. If you follow Eva on Facebook, her son can really train her.
He can give it to them. Both she and her mom.
Both she and her mom. I said not playing with them.
No way.
Say he tired eating today. So I'm gonna see where he want eat first.
He didn't want Captain Crunch. He didn't want this. But the one that really got me is the French toast.
Yes.
How is it his fault that y'all didn't read the label?
Yes.
I know your business.
I'm just gonna. Yeah, you see, I'm just gonna talk about this first effect a little louder. Maybe somebody will hear it. But welcome everybody. We celebrate mothers everywhere. All mothers, we celebrate you.
Yes.
Thank you for all that you're doing. I was telling Agatha earlier. I watched something that was very fascinating to me last week, Saturday. A group of women in Liberia headed by Lavetta Sandolo,
and Jeffine
and Mrs. Livingston, Caroline, quite a few women in Liberia.
Yes.
They had a brunch, and that brunch, the proceeds from the brunch, what they did was they purchased a lot of supplies for the JFK maternity ward. And I told Lavetta that I will send my personal contribution to that because I think it was so befitting, so nice. Over 100 baby tops, or even more. And today was the day that they took it, they delivered it. People got Pampers. Just imagine such an initiative. And, it's like the little things that we do for Liberia will count. So thank you. Shout out to our Liberian women.
Yeah.
I want us to pay homage, first of all, to Cornell, Reverend J. Edwin Law, in his 82nd year. He passed last Saturday morning. Everybody knows, if you didn't know Edwin Law before and the war came, you knew him from Danane. Profoundly, he helped a lot of Liberians. He spoke, but what I remember him from the most was, I think it was in the 80s, just before the war, just after the war. He was an orator at the Flag Day celebration, and I still remember that speech today. So to Reverend Law's family, to his children, to all of us, we want to say deepest condolences to all of you. Now let's talk about this. We have a very handsome man that's coming on. Very handsome, very
And
handsome,
smart.
and very
smart.
smart, very eloquent. And today they will just put me in the corner with my colloquy because between here and Ekata, the Siri will just kill all of y'all today.
It will whiz.
The Siri will whiz. The boy will colloquy, but when he ready to speak English, you will hear all the tenses. Here, Ekata, they coming to tense word today.
Look at
past equal present and present equal past.
No, that's also good English today. And
good English. They went to good English. School. Good English today. When I just go sit in the corner, man, carry a pass. I say in a corner.
I just need hater now, so me and you we get matched. Yeah?
Yes. But we're really excited for our guest today. There's something that before we bring him on, I was so and I talk a little bit about his story. And there is something, and I even had me, I'm ashamed to admit I know something. I was reading a book, the man thing, and he said how they call it, ethos or ethos, ethos. My ethos. I'm gonna read it before he comes on because I think that intro for me was just.
And the one why boss you here?
Man, I said the boy no book. He no book. My ethos, I know that ethos or ethos. Y'all just bear with me, my people. Y'all know when he can't, he will explain that one. But I want to read it as we before we bring him on. It says, "I was born to extract." Let me read good English. I was born to extract greatness from everything or everyone I encounter. This means that your human energy is stronger than nuclear power. We can mine it. I walk in the power of knowing that I am a solution. If you don't know who wrote this, the author, we have him here. And we want to welcome. This is just a little bit. We'll talk some more about it because when I say ethos or ethos, that's sections of ethos. So we want to welcome our guest onto the platform, Mr. Wulwyn Porte. Welcome.
Hey, Wulwyn.
Look,
yeah, your sister here,
no, she puts in my hair.
Yeah.
It's so good to be.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. So, yeah, thank you.
I told you.
I have a poor grandson, so
yes. Coming from the clan of writers, but we're excited to be talking to Wulwyn today. There's so many things he's doing that we're going to be talking about. We want to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself to the audience, people watching, so they can hear about you. One of the reasons why we wanted to talk to Wulwyn, there's, like I said, there's a lot of things he's involved in. There are things that we can learn, and then I step onto the part that I would hope that you will become a writer, an author of book. I tell you, it's your words just connects profoundly, and it speaks to people. It's like somebody, I don't know whether you know about those British people when they're reading. That's how I put myself into your shoes. So they're reading some of the things that you wrote. It was just, so they were acting like I'm a serious spoken today when I was reading your stuff. But anyway, introduce yourself a little bit.
Well, you know, I'm a work in progress, right?
Yes.
A serious work in progress that I think where I started, I'm not where I began. And I gave myself the grace to make mistakes, gave myself the grace to understand I don't know it all. And one thing I always say is I'm in a sandbox. And that sandbox is my ability to play, right? And when we as we grow, we think as grown-ups we need to stop playing and be all serious. And when you take it so seriously, you are, I think for me, you're putting yourself in a corner, in a box. Uh, you find that I'm not supposed to make mistakes. In fact, let me put a disclaimer here. Some of my subject and my verbs may disagree during this program. If they disagree, Banja Carter must not tell me that I'm not speaking properly or writing properly here. So so that disclaimer is out. But no, born, to Josephine and Leo. Leo passed in September of last year.
Mm-hmm.
He was a master plumber. Years ago, well, not years, as a young person, I would be embarrassed to say my dad was a plumber because, he would go and clean fix
Yes.
people's commodes.
Right.
And went to some old girlfriend house with my papi. Papi said, "Well, we bring a wrench." I said, "Daddy, but which one I wrench?" Acting like I know. He said, "You better pass over there and bring that wrench." But born to daddy and mom. Praise God, she's still alive. And we talk about Mother's Day. She's just uh, a strong woman. To keep going with that passing last year. Mom's an economist, an educator.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about speaking. Granddad would come to the house and spend a whole lot of time, Albert, and he would sleep
Mm-hmm.
in my bed. There are a couple of things that I would learn from him, and this is just a introduction of myself, right?
Yes, go
Right.
ahead.
And he they instilled, and then Nansen and Nini being the smallest, the youngest in the family, I I had to I had a whole lot of standards that I had to meet. I had
Yeah.
to meet daddy, mom, granddad, Nansen, Nini, because being the last child, uh, the parents aren't the parents anymore. The oldest becomes the parents, and
That's
Nansen took
true.
that thing like he born me, and it
Very
wasn't easy
serious.
on me.
I
Yeah,
know, very
yeah.
serious.
That was too serious. You get thank God no scars, or maybe I don't even know if I have scars, right? But growing up in that environment, I I learned that family would come first with my decisions.
Okay.
If I would go in the street and misbehave, which I did a lot, I think I was the most grown among the three. Um,
No way.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Um, I would go and think, what would mommy think? What would daddy think? What would Nyansa think? I said, well, that business, they can think whatever they want to. But that this is something that to the mothers don't stop saying, don't stop speaking into your child over your children, because they may act today as if they're not listening, but
Mhm.
over time, I tell you, they it comes back,
Right.
it returns, it has to return, because that's all they heard. That's the base.
Right.
They may act as though they're not listening, but up to the day, I'm thinking what mom said, what dad said, what influential people said to me, and that's what we also have to be careful with how we speak over them,
Right.
around them.
Right.
But that's me in a nutshell. And prior was really really into things. But then God
Mhm.
checked me out, and God said, "Picking can't follow me." So I said, "All right, Papi, let's roll," and I was thinking, being a Christian, and when I say a Christian, not in the real sense of the word, not the other part of the word where, I'm a Christian, uh, where I would define a Christian being, a follower of Jesus Christ, not religiously, but spiritually, and by living by example and not pointing fingers and judging.
Mhm.
uh, but yeah, I would just define myself as a child of God.
Beautiful, beautiful. I listen to you and hear you talk about upbringing. I mean, I'm very familiar. I consider myself a part of your family, to your family, to Angel and and
Yeah.
the upbringing and the discipline that they instill in all of you. When you look back today, and also your linkage to Albert Porte and to, of course, Rodney DCA, where you look back today, what would you say you would attribute to how you all have come up to?
Wow. I would. So I'll tell you about granddad. You know, it's so important to have generations in the house. It's so good
Yes.
to have generations in the house because mom and dad are not paying attention to teach. They don't have the time to spend with you to teach you the important things, but to them, not so important. But your grandparents, they have all the time in the world to teach you
Mm-hmm.
things that your parents are overlooking. And one thing I would say, what so granddad would come to the house to write and do a couple different things, to come to town and do his writings and come to sleep at the house. He would attempt to watch TV, and I intentionally say the word attempt.
Yes.
At about 8 o'clock, he would go to bed, and we will be watching Bonanza. If you remember Bonanza,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yes.
So Bonanza's on, and the next day he would tell me, Wulwyn, what happened? And
In Bonanza.
I say, well, Bonanza caught the barman, and the barman were running from Bonanza, and the barman fell on Bonanza, jumped on top of him. He said, no, that's not what happened. I said, what do you mean? He said, no. So days, or I don't know how long it took, but it took a while. And I finally got what he was trying to tell me.
Mhm.
He was teaching me to be a communicator. One, he was teaching me to be a public speaker. He was teaching me to view something for others. So it turned out to be here's what he wanted. And when I finally got it, that's he would go. He went. So he would say, so what happened after? And I go, well, uh, I think you left when he fell off the horse. When he jumped on the horse again, the horse started. Then he would go, um, and then he would say, I started. Then I say he went on the right hand side and he went, and then he would go in his chair like this. He would go in his chair.
He's following
You,
you.
you serious? I say, yeah. And then the horse stopped and said, he said, oh. And I would go in and explain those things, and it would take me 30 minutes, just the amount of time. It's
Right.
because I needed to get the details. I needed to get all those
Mhm.
idiosyncrasies of what I think he would want. And
Right.
it turned out to be today that if I go and MC or go and speak somewhere, they go, you're such a natural. And I go, natural? I say, yeah. But it was because my granddad, who took the time to
Teach.
inadvertently teach me how to explain or narrate something to others, because it's a gift, I would say.
Yeah.
It's a
It's-
gift.
So I want us to jump into some of the things that you're doing, and I'll ask this question, and then Agatha can come in. So you're here with your family. I want to recognize your wife and your children, and
Yep.
of course your wife is not she not. Let me go to small but I want to small woman. I want a chair lady or the both for CW Alumni Association or Liberia. Big woman, big woman too. And then so, but I also want to say here is you have your family here, and then recently you decide to relocate. I want us to talk about the decision to relocate to Liberia, to
Mhm.
decide to start a business in Liberia after you've been here for so many years and you've been successful. You decide to go home. One of the things, kudos to you, because it's like you almost went and filled the gap for your mom to be
Mm.
there with her, losing a lifelong partner. I'm sure. I mean, yes, Nini and Nyanza. I'm sure the last minute blessing you're gonna get it from Sis Joe. But
Mm.
but just the fact, yeah, I shouldn't have to leave you a answer. But just the fact that you decide to say, I want to go to Liberia now and to start a business. and just relocating. I want you to walk us through that process. Is how did you get to that decision to want to do
Mm.
that and move back? Because it's not an easy thing for everybody.
It's not. And kudos to Verlin and the children, really.
Yes.
It's a story that begins in 2007. In fact, it began since my birth. I always knew I was a builder. I always knew I wanted to. Thus, you saw what you read. I
Mhm.
always knew I wanted to build churches and hospitals and schools and orphanages.
Hmm.
And but it came across to me in later years as a software developer. So I am writing software and it's building. And in building software, I find out it's not building software. And I'm engaging with people, and people are asking me, well, when people are coming to me and asking to give solutions for issues they're having, and it comes easily to me and for me. And they keep coming, they kept coming. And yeah, over the years, I would say to folks who are watching that to find your purpose, to find your mission, one of the puzzle pieces is to ask your mom, your close friends, what am I good at? And when you ask that question, they will come in and sprinkle a couple of things around what you were supposed to be doing on earth. So I knew I was a builder. All these things occurred. 2007, I finally felt the roof coming down on me in the office. I yelled at the guy next to me in the next office that is this place getting smaller? And he said, no, you're going crazy, Wulwyn. But this was a discontent of where I was, a discontent in who I was. And mind you, I was a Christian. I was saved. I I was just not. Things weren't working. And when I say things weren't working here for and there, hitting my heart. Right. I finally 2007. I finally surrendered, and I said, God, whatever you want me to be, let me become whatever you want me to be. And I think it was driving down I-40, came down crying, boohoo, and I'm a crier. You almost made me cry here just now. So please, I beg you. And Nini will cuss you for trying to let me get the last blessings. But cried, and came to find out that God really didn't want me to be. And I thought I was running away because I thought I was going to be a pastor. And I said, nah, I don't want to be a pastor, Lord. I ain't trying. I'm too crazy for that. And then it finally hit me that I he told me, just sit and wait for what I have. So that's 2007, 8, 9, 10, 2011. He finally calls November 15. And how does he call it? Tap me on my thigh, sleeping. Now this stuff is as if it's coming, from a movie, right? Tap me on my thigh, and I wake up, look at Verl, and I go, I try to go back to bed, and it's another tap on the thigh. I go, well, okay, right. Now, writing is such a major part of me. I have journals that are stacked high. And books, yes, I've written 6 of them unpublished. They're sitting in the computer right now, right?
Yeah.
For the right time to come out. And I know who I'm gonna have to do my
Oh,
my
you
my.
already know.
I already know who
We
I
have the
have.
award-winning person here.
Somebody who
Yeah.
travels multiple continents to do
Oh, no
a
joke.
program. Are you kidding me? Uh, but
Yeah, I got
but
jokes.
so so right, and what was in there was, leave your job, um, leave your businesses, and read the Bible and pray. I want you to open a foundation to build hospitals, schools, clinics, da 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 da. So it's 2 hours of writing. and I can show, seeing is proof, the original journals back there. And I go, okay, and leave your job on January 3rd. So January 3rd happened to be on a Monday. I'm like, God, you know a whole lot, huh? So didn't tell Verlin what was going on. November 15, 16, every 2 a.m. I'm waking up and I'm writing instructions, instructions, instructions. I finally tell her when I resigned that, honey, I'm leaving. God told me. She says, what? That's a whole different story that it would be good to have her to explain her part. But I just said, yeah. And at that point, I was the so-called breadwinner. Um, because she had just started working for free this legal aid thing, because they don't pay them anything there.
Yeah.
So long story short, I fast forward, I left the job, I resigned, and part of what he told me was I would lose it all, because one thing that who Wulwyn Put was prideful, arrogant, egotistical, but he was undercover all those things. He was a Christian now. He would come and, hey, but when he entered a room, he would say to himself, I make money, more money than 99% of the people in here. That's kind of sick, right? So God knew my heart. He knew exactly who I was and who I was to become, but it was a process to remove those things off. Um, and then it started. It started. And the entire walk with God from that time till today, he has let me know before it happens.
Mm-hmm.
He lets me know before it happens. Uh, and when it happens, he goes, I told you, right? And what are some of the things that happen? Foreclosure, lost,
Mm.
lost it all, lost it all,
Mm.
lost it all. And when I tell you lost it all, and I'm going to say a couple of things here, not to showcase, but just to say what was all, what we
Mm.
consider all on this planet.
Mm.
So a 4,000 square foot house on an acre and a half, a BMW 750i, black on black, that was paid for, um, lost a bank account that I said this would never ever, this would never ever go to zero.
Mm.
Mm.
Uh, 401k, and just lost it, just lost it. But then you say to yourself that people testify and say I was glad I was afflicted,
Mm.
Mm.
uh, and I can sit today and say, gosh, God, I'm so thankful for who I have become,
Mm.
because that other person, he was no good. You see, in order for me to write what I wrote to say I'm a solution, that didn't come from Wulwyn.
Mm.
That is too people centered.
Yeah.
And he's selfish. He is so selfish.
Mm.
uh, so left it, lost it all. Fast forward 2012 to 2015. It's just reading the Bible and praying, reading the Bible and praying. And then I'm studying church growth and development. I'm like, why am I studying this thing? Why am I studying? Just study, just study. By 2015, I got tired and I said, no, God, I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm done. It's like, no, you're not. Open a consultancy. Like, oh, really? Yeah. On what? On why businesses fail. So I was studying on church growth, why churches fail. He says, do it opposite. Why businesses fail is because what you learn and why churches fail. I'm like, oh wow,
Mhm.
what do I call it, God? Albert Consultancy, Granddad Leopold, and I'm like, nah, call it Joseph Solomon. I'm like,
Mm.
that's smart. Joseph Solomon, huh? So it's Joseph Solomon Management Consultant. Like, okay, Joseph, manager, Solomon, wisdom. Okay, I
Yes.
get it. So 2015, 2016, 2017, I'm doing this. And I tell you how I do the consultancy. I have Buddhist clients, have African American, American, Caucasian, but and I start with, hey, can we pray? No, I said, do you pray? And they go, yeah, I pray. I'm like, okay, can I pray? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, so it's before every session, Father God, as I speak here, Holy Spirit, you come in and do what I have to do, and da, da, da. In Jesus' name, amen. And I tell you, in those moments with these clients, there's no embarrassment on me saying that I know God, because the gift, the wisdom that I have is from Him. What they are coming to me for is based on a gift that God has given me. So I can't be ashamed of Him.
Wow.
So I can speak and say, uh, Daniel, Joseph, these guys had Pharaoh's ear. I mean, they were pharaohs. They were owners of it, of those various places. But in 2023, we tend as Christians, and I would speak from that perspective, that I have to keep my Christendom for Sunday, not knowing this thing is for Sunday to Saturday. And it's not something that you see. It has to be a 360-degree operation, that I'm not going to take my words, my tongue. I'm not going to when I get in a business environment, I would speak business, and when I get with my boys, I would speak boys. I can speak the same way in both of these, all of these environments, and still be the best version of myself in these environments. And I
Wow.
and I find, and the conversations went on, talked, and improvements to businesses, and it worked. It worked. And I'm not that woman who's selling a fish and say, look, the thing can work. I know this thing well, or let me help your business. But it the way God showed me how to help businesses. Fundamental, building business models and that's what I do in Liberia now, and do it here. So 2015 to 2018, I'm saying, okay, God, let me do this. 2019, he says, shut the business down. I'm like, what? Shut it down? Yes, shut it down. I'm like, but we just got started. Shut it down. I shut it down. How am I doing a business that Monday I'm fasting, Friday I'm fasting, Wednesday I'm fasting, Tuesday I'm fasting? I'm like, God, this thing is no business. But mind you, as I'm doing it, business is
Sleeping up.
picking up, and
Yes.
shut it down. I'm like, what do you mean shut it down? I'm like, you see, what we own here, we really don't own. We're stewards. When we understand that we're stewards, then it's not ours, right? So I go, okay, I'll shut it down. When I shut it down, this time before I shut it down, I talked to Verlin. I said, honey, God is telling me this. She said, oh, yeah, go ahead, do it. Boom, shut it down. 2020 comes. Mommy and daddy catch COVID. We are in the process. Nini and I buy a ticket to go home to take care of them. The day I'm supposed to go, boom, I catch COVID the day before, so I can't get on. Nene goes, it's January. I'm fasting and praying, asking God, what do we do? What do I do? Show me, show me. Verlin understands seasons. So we're praying, and in my COVID, one morning she gets him, she says, you have to move to Liberia. And I go, what? She says, you have to move to Liberia. You have to go and open a business. I'm like, what you mean you go open a business? She said, you have to go. So I said, okay, let me think. Went to pray the next day. Next day, God says, what's in your hand? I go, what you mean what's in my hand? What's in your hand? I said, technology, under business management. He says, go and open those two things. Now I tell you, team, God tells me to write everything down that I need for the media business. The dollar amount is about 60,000 plus. I said, God, let's do it in phases, because this thing is wow, you are so snazzy. Wow. um uh let's go. So I said, let's do it in phases, God. Do it in phases. He says, no, this is my business, right? I'm like, yeah. He says, put everything down. Glenda, Agatha, hey, there's God, yeah. I'm gonna put your face in people's dreams, Wulwyn. I'm gonna
Mm,
provide for you. You guys sitting
come
now,
on.
yeah. My friend called me, ting, 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 ting. Huawei. I said, yeah, I saw you last night. I said, where? My man, you were in Liberia. I said, what you mean I'm in Liberia? So my man, I saw a dream. You were in Ellie Mill, Scarborough. You were waving to me, my man, my man. I said, huh? He said, what you doing now? I said, my man, God telling me to go to Liberia. Oh, my man, I got camera that I ain't even using. My man, I'm shipping it to you, man. You look, people just started to call me left, right. My man, so and so, pop, pop, pop. This office, Amazon boxes just started packing up. Pop, 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 pop. And in no time, every single equipment
Mm.
that I needed, God provided. And money started coming to our hands from things we started to do. I said, God, I cannot ship these things now. I will ship it with on the ship. He's like, nah, they're gonna go on a plane. 11 crates of equipment. And I'm not
Wow.
talking, uh I'm not talking low class equipment, sisters. 11 crates went and I was able to open Media for the Mind. And what's Media for the Mind? Just mindful business, mindful media that fulfills, not, you have other media entities that do other things, right? But this one is just mindful media. So how did I go to Liberia in a nutshell? Verlin wakes up, says go to Liberia, and God says go and open the foundation, which I opened there. Open the management consultancy and open Media for the Mind. And that's how I went.
Amazing.
On
Amazing.
faith. On faith.
Amazing. Agata, I
L-
am,
Let
I
me
am.
let me revert a little bit. When did you actually realize that you were kin to Albert Port and who he was to Liberia? At what age did you get that aha? This is my grandfather. This is what he's done. This is what he means to Liberia. At what age did you realize who he actually was?
Hmm. Excellent question. I you see, the, the answer to the question, I will have to put it in a different, the answer I have to put in a different way. He was always important from day one. There was something about him, his presence, that you just you just had to respect him. You just
Right.
had to know he wasn't one way in the street and another in the house. He wasn't. Everything that he said out there was what he was saying in the house. We couldn't mispronounce. We couldn't. You couldn't speak colloquial in the house. You could not, jokingly or forgetfully. No, no, you couldn't do it. Uh, then I think what triggered it was his death.
Okay.
When he died and people took the casket on Broad Street, and they said it was a people's funeral, and he's lifting it up, and they're lifting it up and walking, and I go, that shorty was a big deal, huh? Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was 1987, I think. So that's, I'm gonna tell you my age. Yeah,
We
that
all know your age.
yeah, I know. I think it was about 13, that 14, that it hit. This guy. But he was always that. I tell you a story. Uncle Alfred, his oldest. We're
Hmm.
sitting, and Auntie Willia just passed. Uh, and that's Uncle Alfred's wife. We were sitting in 1980, 83, 84. Uncle Alfred is jokingly lying about granddad on the
Mhm.
porch. And all the grandkids are there, Uncle Alfred, all of us sitting there, because every Sunday we'll go and eat. And then Granddad told him, Elfric, come here. Uncle Elfric stopped laughing and walked to his dad. This man in front of all of us, he says, you stop lying. And Uncle Elfric was, I'm just joking. He says, no, you're not joking. You're lying. Apologize that you're lying. And Uncle Alfred goes, I'm sorry, Dad, that I lied to you. And that thing was just profound in my mind that I looked and I said,
Wow.
this guy, this guy is old. Even though he's older, this guy should be free to do whatever he wants to do, but
Right.
not in Granddad's book, right? You just had to be, you had to be straight. You had to be straight with them, you know. And I'm happy for that.
I just wanted to get a sense of if you, at what age did you understand? Thanks for painting that picture. Yes, your grandfather is indeed a huge deal to Liberia and Liberians, and there are
Mm,
very few and far in between after him.
mm, mm.
So I'm going to fast forward to current day, and I'm let me apologize. I'm the heathen of the show, so I'm a little skeptical when you say God's talking to you and He's tapping your thigh and all of that.
Gotcha.
But let me. I'm going to come back to that. I do want to
Mhm.
visit. How do you, after living in this country and like you said, being at that time the sole provider for your house, how do you explain that? I know you said your wife can probably explain her story better, but as a provider, even as a Christian,
Mhm.
you're the head of household,
Mhm.
right? You literally pull the rug from under your family's feet, right? Help me understand that process. Maybe my walk isn't there yet, that I'm not
Mhm.
that, you know what I mean?
I
I
understand.
don't quite understand
I
how
understand.
a head of household, a
Correct.
provider, a father, a husband
Mhm.
will just drop everything and say, God told me in my sleep I need to go do X, Y, and Z.
Mhm.
Help me understand that a little bit more. How did your children take it? How did your wife take it?
Phew.
Give us a little bit more than you did previously.
So the provider had $200,000 plus in savings in in different accounts to provide for his family. So it's not, the guy didn't just pull the rug and say, "Oh, I'm running out of here, running from y'all." No, there was funds. Funds are sitting there that even after I'm paying, we're paying for mortgages, we're paying for
Right.
trips to Liberia with the kids in 2012. We're so it's so let's demarcate there that it's not running and saying boom, but still it is, because it's the income stopped, and we know cash
Correct.
flow, cash
Exactly.
has to flow, cash stopped flowing. So
Right.
there's a moment in time that it's going to stop. She goes and she prays and she says, God, Wulwyn is the Wulwyn is the breadwinner. Wulwyn is the source here. Wulwyn is that. And she's driving in the car, and God tells her, Wulwyn's not the source. He's just a resource.
Come
He's
on.
just a resource. So that was a blow to me when she told me that. God, you mean I'm not the man? I'm not the man. I wasn't the man. My mom tells me, and in love, not in hate, she says, don't be a pimp. Don't be a pimp. Wulwyn, Paul in the Bible was working. He was building tents. People in the Bible, if you don't work, you don't eat. And it's in the Bible. But when you're mission driven,
Mm.
when you're vision driven, when you're purpose driven,
Mm.
there are certain things, and not all of us are cut on in the same training, because
Absolutely.
this guy, this Wulwyn, had to lose every single thing for his eyes to open, to know that it wasn't, when you say he's smart, he's this, that it wasn't, yeah, I worked on it, but it's a grace that is upon me in order for me to perform, to do whatever I'm doing. So it was, are you kidding me? It was so hard on me to do it, but I knew something in me just knew. So I waited 4 years to hear this from 2007, and I say, I surrender. I surrender, God. Whatever you want me to do, I will do. I just told somebody the other day, if it was 11:59, December 31st, Times Square, with the ball about to drop, I was so tuned in to hear. I could hear a pin drop in that place. It was, if it was dropping for me. That's how in tune I was after I said I surrender. And there are so many pieces of the story that I'm not saying because due to time, but
Right.
I would just listen and say, God, what is it that you want me to do? Because most times, you see, when we surrender, we think that it's God is there waiting to say, oh, thank God you surrender, son, let me show you it. No, 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 no. It's a process that I have to learn how to wait. I have to learn how to wait now. So I'm waiting and waiting, and then when I hear this call, and as you said, when I'm explaining it, I feel like I'm stupid, knocking my thigh and me waking up. I feel like I'm stupid. Do you know what makes me believe that that thing occurred? When I go and open my journal and read it. That's why it says write the vision down, make it plain, so that when
Yes.
men hear it, when they
Yeah.
will run with it, right? They will run. Not I'm not gonna run with it. You will run with it. So when I read it, I go, this thing really happened? I said, wow. So my kids, the foreclosure, my daughter tells me, Daddy, can we take the paint off the wall? And I go, what? She said, can we take the paint? It's our paint. I'm like, yeah, baby, but now in the foreclosure, I had to take 3 or 4 days to pack that house. 3 or 4 days to pack that house. Why? Now, how long your show, girl? This is going to be a special edition. Look, it took 3 to 4 days. When God told me you're about to receive a letter from Wells Fargo, and I said, what do you know about Wells Fargo? Oh, Wells Fargo in heaven? He says, no, be serious, Wulwyn, be serious. I'm sitting at the office at the house working, and I hear a bell. My daughter runs. She's 4 or 5 at the time. Daddy, daddy, something's at the door. People think foreclosure note is pink. No, it's not pink. It's white. It's a letter. So I always thought it was pink or it was stamping on the wall. No, I opened it and I saw it. I'm like, foreclosure, da da da. There were processes that I had to do to not be in foreclosure. But part of the instruction from him was, Wulwyn, do nothing about it. Agata? Hiya. Verlin is working in legal aid Obama has put in place in 2011, 2012, 2013 timeframe, many programs to alleviate foreclosure. Verlin's in charge in legal aid. Her friend is in charge of that department. God says, do nothing. I'm sleeping in at night. That girl wakes, women, we're talking about mothers. Security is number one. Security, security, security. Knowing, to be taken care of. Just knowing that tomorrow for the kids is okay. I will wake up with I will open my eye. That girl looking at me like this. I say, what happened? She says, God really call you? Yeah. Did God really call you? The thing you talking here, you said God said you want to do nothing. But let me tell you how God vindicates.
Yes.
We go to the hearing. We get to the hearing. We enter room 1, 2, 3, 4. That's another story. Enter room 1, 2, 3, 4. I said, Fernie, room 1, 2, 3, 4. She said, you and your 1, 2, 3, 4. I said, leave him out. We sit down. The white man sitting across from me, the woman sitting on the left hand side, Fernie sitting next to me. Long story short, The white man can look at me. The man, he has gone through foreclosures, so it's he knows the process. So he's not even his heart isn't in it. He's just mechanical. The woman says, Mr. Put, what do you want to do? Snot running down my nose there. I said, God said I'm gonna do nothing. I said, I'm gonna tell you my story. The woman said, Fairly knock me in my tie. I said, what are you knocking me for? I said, I said, I'm gonna tell you my story. God call me in. My people, I had the money to pay for their hustle. I'm not irresponsible, but God called me. God said, I'm gonna leave my job. Yeah, I went and explained, I testified in that room. The woman says, Mr. Put, I want to ask you something. Tell me when you want to leave the house. I said, I know. She said, Mr. Put, I'm not supposed to say this. If you want to leave the house in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, tell me I will put it in the court documents. On what? I said, no, I want that thing over my head. I said, give me 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't want it. The white man who is Mr. Mechanical, the man lift up his face. He says, Mr. Port, he said, give me your number. Do you have the foundation? Do you have? He says, let me tell you what's going to happen. God is going to turn this thing around for you for your good. That man that I said, look at a racist man. That man turned around and started ministering to me in that place. That man ministered, but here's how the story ends. 2 weeks, time to sell a horse. I stay in a horse for 3 years. Time to sell a horse. Wells Fargo computer will go down in North Carolina. Yeah. I said, hello, y'all sold a horse? They said, we couldn't sell it. I said, but why are you selling? Our system went down. The system went down all over? No, only in this area. You get the kind of hindrances that occurred. You know, in this whole process, what God was telling us, what God was showing me.
Yeah.
God was showing me that, Wulwyn, I'm running this show.
Trust
and
me.
the way that I'm running it, thank you. Trust and believe that I will provide.
Trust me.
You know, my sister, she left her family business. Nobody, he says, nobody will give you money in this period. Nobody will give you a single thing because I want you to know that it's coming from me. Nini will say, "What will you need anything?" I say, "Yeah, my girl, I need something." She said, "I will send it to you tomorrow." So she finished. He said, she will not send it. That girl will forget. I mean, and God was just bringing funding and things from places that I never knew about.
Amen.
So that's why I can sit and I can say, when he says go Liberia, I'm not going Liberia because it's on a whim. I'm not going Liberia because it's sexy. It's the fad. There's a reason he wants me in Liberia. You see, there's human capacity issues in that place that they don't know what they have, but they have it. They have land that you can do farming, that you can feed, Liberia and the rest of the region. You have water coming down that you can do farming and different things. You have labor. You have I mean the resources place is so rich. But you see, I got something that I learned. Liberians, when I got there, you got to study the place. Everybody, that chief, everybody in charge of something, and they can stop you, they can hinder you, even though you so-called own God business, and you foolish people who think that they own God business and they're not supposed to understand. They're not supposed to understand the world in Babylon. You foolish. You have to understand the strategies involved. You got to pray and you got to do and strategize. So I found out, I said, here's the sentence I found out. On your way to see the king, don't let the doorkeeper block you. See, when you go open your business, there are a bunch of doorkeepers. They will try to stop you. They will try to stop you and put 2 weeks, 2 months on your work. When you want to see somebody to talk, doorkeeper is keeping doors. They're keeping doors. But when you see these doorkeepers, you shouldn't get angry with them. I used to get angry. Then this thing hit me. You see, The doorkeeper is there for a reason. There's a strategy involved with this doorkeeper to open a door. And it's
Mhm.
not bribing, it's not tipping, it's not, there's a strategy involved for the doorkeeper to open the door for you. You see, when you go sit down to the with a king and you come back, that doorkeeper will never close that door in your face again because he sees that the king knows you. And who is the king? What is the king? The king is proverbial. The king is what God has called you for. You see, God said, go open business. He's stopping the people stopping me from getting my business registration. But I will be king. I will get my business registration in my hand. And one day I will come back and I will employ you. And I will employ you and give you a better salary. King is somebody who I'm supposed to go and see, but they say, my man gotta pay me. My man, I ain't got no money, my man. My man, I just need to talk to the person. Isn't that what you're here for? Oh, for me, where you taking it now? All right, all right. I mean, so there are different ways that the doorkeeper in Liberia is just a bunch of doorkeepers trying to hold that part of their door for them to be relevant, not knowing they're already relevant. They are already relevant.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
Gosh.
amazing, amazing story. I love that you're able to. I hope that you've inspired people watching and listening. You certainly have. I have much, much more respect for you. I truly do honor you and your wife and your family. And your story reminds me of my. I was talking to someone yesterday. Bessie Bush posted my favorite Bible verse,
Hmm.
and little did I know that I would have the opportunity to recite it to you today, with your story.
Hmm.
And it's in Habakkuk 2 verse 3,
Hmm.
where and it's been my verse for years, for over 20 years. It says, the vision is yet for an appointed time.
Mm,
Though it tarries, wait,
mm, hey.
wait. So truly, you've inspired me. And I want before we, I mean, we're already at the hour mark, but I want to talk about this foundation. Um,
Hmm.
what is intriguing to me is the Gate Foundation infrastructure for Christ. What is
Hmm.
that all? Tell us a little bit about it, because in reading about you, that is where your heart is. Um,
Yes.
I want you to talk a little bit about that, and truly, you don't even know. I am at that place, Wulwyn, where you were, but it's
Mm,
like hearing your story has also inspired me. It's like losing everything, starting all over. It's not about me today, but just being able to hear your testimony
mm,
is a testament to me that God is able to do all things but
mm,
fail.
mm.
And it's only Him that we have to trust in. I mean, I didn't have all that you have, but I know I've lost it all, and I'm starting afresh and starting anew. But it's like I am content in one area, and that is that I have peace of mind.
Ay, ay, ay.
I have peace of mind knowing that God is able to provide. So you have truly, truly inspired me tonight, inspire us with your stories. I love
Mm,
that I got to ask you that question, and I love your honesty and your testimony, because even if people don't believe, you have set yourself out there and you believe your story,
mm. Oh,
and
yeah.
it's your story and only you can tell it. So I want you to tell us a little bit. I don't want to. I'm so inspired by you and your family and your children, and just knowing you even more now. Not too many people will be able to come and share what you've shared with us today, but truly you can say that your testimony is real, it's authentic, and I want to acknowledge that. I want you to
Mhm.
talk a little bit about this organization.
So God, remember, He says, open a foundation to build churches, schools, hospitals, clinics, orphanages, feeding centers, community centers around the world. And I will show you where to go. In the process of doing and learning and studying, He says that I will even send you into Muslim nations, I will send you. You see, God is about people. God is not about denominational. God is about people. God loves people. So anybody who's everybody's mission here is to make it easier for the next person. And when that person gets it, that person makes it easier for people who are in their ecosystem, and that's how it grows. So Geek Foundation, uh, multiple arms to it. It's infrastructure for Christ. That they're a hungry a woman who's hungry and her children aren't aren't fed. You come to her and you talk about God. You really think she will listen to you?
Mm.
No food on her table, no roof on her head, no water near her house. You really think she would come? And then you would bring the Bible to her and say, "Yes, what I want you to do. I want you to say you know God and you trust God. And then when you put your hand on the Bible and touch it, then I will give you food." Then the
Mm.
woman say, "Oh yeah, I trust God," and then she gave me the food. She goes. You really think she changed? Versus the other way around, you come there, you're sent, you build a well, you build a school, you pay, you put the kids into tuition, and then they ask you, but why are you doing this? Oh, God sent me, oh, God sent me here to do this. Which God? My
Mm.
God. For true, tell me about it. I will tell you about it. Because in all this thing that this, you see, the 4 years that I was studying, reading the Bible, praying every day, Jesus, they God said, I will send you into places with no Bible in your hand.
Hmm.
Now, I will tell you that I don't memorize any Bible verses. But if you open your mouth and you say something about that section in the Bible, forget it. I know exactly where I know the context of it. You can come and ask a question about the Bible, and I'll say, Taki, and the Holy Spirit will just open it up for me, and I will correlate 3 points, pop, 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 bring it and create a whole understanding of it. That's the gift in for me. So my mission is to go out there, inquire about what's needed. So for example, we go to Nimba. I went to Nimba. I get there near Ganta. No water in the place. The people walking, going 20 miles, 20 minutes away for water. So I go, oh, yeah, you got water? I said, God, that build well, yeah, man. All right, we build well. I'm praying for the money. Money not $4,000, $5,000. I talk with my pastor here, my local pastor. He says, oh, Wulwyn, I'll send 2,000. I said, Dougie, that 3,000. Somebody else said, my man, I will give you 1,000 for whatever you want to do. 1,000. There's a family who in the town, they own the town. I said, but if we got 3,000, y'all got to put money into the thing, yo. They said, oh, we'll see. The people brought it 2,000, 5,000, build it well. The day we build it well, we sitting there, people say, but who sent you here? I said, my people that go, they go here for real. God was showing me a dream. That true God really sent you because I had a dream that thing will come and happen. Um, infrastructure also is teaching churches that in order for you to build for your church to grow, it's not in reach, it's outreach. It's not cliquish. It's not sitting there. You go to church so somebody can preach to you, so you can go out and preach to others, to evangelize, to talk about God. But you're not going there to go judge the person when the person drinking, the person smoking. You say, you will not smoke. Are you serious? You go there, you say, my man, I understand you smoking, you my man. They say you want smoke. No, my man, I can't smoke, but let's lecture. We lecture. I'm not lecturing them about God. Because if I'm the light,
It
everywhere
was
I go, it got to
this.
shine. It has to shine.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
not going to put it on my head. Oh, a Christian. I don't. No, 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 no. I'm going to go and say, how you doing, my people? What are your needs? What are these different things? So Geek Foundation is really going in, seeing what the needs are in an environment, and it's not pre-planned, and filling those basic needs in order that people can have the opportunity to fail. And when I say opportunity to fail, Verlin says, well, that's a bad word to say. You see, people you don't have opportunity to fail. You just fail because no opportunity there. But you see, when opportunity comes, you can choose and say, let me see if I will succeed or if I will fail. So now you have the opportunity to fail because the school is there, the water's there, you got shelter. Are you really going to come sit down and lose this opportunity to improve yourself? Or are you going to take this opportunity and grow? So,
Mm.
so and here's the thing: the businesses, Geek found the Joseph Solomon Management and the Media for the Mind. Hey, God, when I say that one is there stupid. Cause my man, 50% of everything you get from those businesses, you put it in a foundation. So I take when somebody pays me, you pay me $2,000, I take 1,000 and I put it in Geek Foundation account. I take 50%, put it in the business account. I take 50% and put it in the personal. So that's 25, 25, 25, 50. And why I say this, see, if you're running something, you got to be first to put your own thing in it. You can't depend on other people's money. You
Yeah.
can't depend on other people's money to come to run it. So I would proudly say, proudly meaning that, thank God your charity begins at home. And this thing could have started in any country. I thought it was going to start in America, but God said go to Liberia. You see, it
Yeah.
has to start in Liberia. It has
Yes.
to be in Liberia. There's a reason Agatha, reason Glende, there's a reason Wulwyn, there's a reason Michael Padmore, there's a reason Banjak, there's a reason these people were born in Liberia. We were born in Liberia to build Liberia. Like Liberia will be built from
Yes.
the private sector. It would not be built from the government sector. Liberia will be built from private millionaires who understand what needs to be done in Liberia so that the middle class can grow. Man cannot build Liberia, my people. So when we sitting down and we have to be mission driven, because if you're not mission driven in Liberia, small ways, be bought will move your mind from your mission. The battle will move your mind from it. Agatha, no joke. If you're not vision driven, you it's so easy for
Gotta,
you
we
to
gotta stay focused.
you have to stay focused in Liberia. And if your focus means you go to work and you drive back home and you stay home and you don't hang out, that's where your focus has to be for that period. Because there will be
Yes.
hindrances, the
Yes.
doorkeepers, the beautiful women, the drinking, the partying, the corruption, which is everywhere. It's just brewing to take you away from your path. But
Yes.
yeah. Hmm. That what Key
So as we
Foundation is, yeah.
thank you. Well, we wish you all the very best.
Yeah.
I want to end by reading. Agatha, you have anything?
No, I'm speechless, and I'm very
Yes.
rarely speechless.
Yeah. I
Praise
want to
God.
end by reading this what another piece of what I read earlier that really has stuck with me. And you introduce yourself as, my name is Wulwyn Q Porte. I'm originally from Monrovia, Liberia. I was raised in a home with parents who instilled in me and my two siblings, of which I am the youngest, excellence in everything we did. I was raised to understand that my importance was not based on material worth, but my
Mm,
moral character.
mm,
Indeed,
mm,
indeed, you do. You
mm,
you you exemplify all of that, and your siblings also. They, all three of you, we can certainly say that about you. And what we want to thank you. This
mm,
platform has now become your platform. There's anything you're working on, anything you want to share, we're here. This is what we do. This is why we do what we do, to be able to expose. And that's I always say, it's not just always about the bad things. And I think what you just said kind of links to what Agata always says, that we want to share the good things about Liberia.
yeah.
And so when we have people like you and people and others of Liberian descent who are focused and they're mission driven and they're focused on the things they want to do, it is truly that we will rebuild Liberia. So we
Yes.
want to say thank you and we wish you all the very best, my brother.
Wow.
Indeed.
Wow. You guys, may may you the reason why you started this, may you get you don't understand the reason why you started this. Y'all don't understand the reason why you started this. Y'all ain't get it yet. You see, when you get it, it will be lit, but you would have already done it. You would have already done it. Um, and there's a reason the individuals who are on it are on it. There may be times where friction may occur, but I'll tell you something. What you're doing is so important. It's see, there are dots that come on a spectrum, right? Dots, and you wouldn't know why the dots are there as you're moving through,
Mm,
but there's a day that will come when those dots will connect, and when those
mm,
dots connect, you're going to be your mouth will be open and you go, what is this? So you talked about, Glenda, you talk about you're in a process now. I know I'm going over, but hey, this is our show. You already told me that's how we take it.
Exactly.
uh, you talk
it's
about a
an hour
process.
show.
You talk about a process you're in now, and Agatha, you yourself in a process, ma. Trust and believe, we're all in some process.
Oh,
We're all going
absolutely.
through something. But
Absolutely.
I want to encourage you. I will close on this, and I wrote it down here because I really wanted. We have to be mission driven.
Mm,
We have to be content
mm,
and not complacent. So content is, if the current goes in Liberia and the
Mm.
place hot, the solar off, the generator off, everything in the place hot, then you say, talking about I can go to America, or I can go to America and get my air cool right now. God, I'm explaining to you what went through my mind. I said, no, I can get on the plane tomorrow and leave this place. But why did I come here? So I
Mm.
have to be content in everything, everywhere I find myself. In the heat, in the cold, when the air comes on, in everything that I find myself, I have to be content, because you see, mission-driven people, external factors cannot stop them.
mm. Yeah.
External factors cannot stop mission-driven people. When mission-driven person encounters an external factor that seems to stop them, they will strategize. The
Mm,
Nehemiah 4. They will pray, they will strategize, and they will do. They will not just pray. You see, Liberia full of prayers. The people can pray. The pastors can preach good words. But where it's missing is the doing. They think God will come down and do it. But idle hands, hey, can't feed. Um, so mission-driven people run the thing, and I will end on this. Somewhere in the Bible that it says that, you know, foreigners will eat your money. Foreigners will eat your land. And I wrote it here. Now I was sure. Let me just explain it quick. Deuteronomy, I would just say Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse. Hey, Father, help me, Lord. I wrote it in down. Yeah. They say foreigners will eat your resources. In Proverbs 5, verse 10, it says, strangers will take all your wealth, and what you have worked for will belong to someone else. And if you go before Proverbs, earlier they say, my child, pay attention and listen to my wisdom and insight. Then you will know how to behave properly, and your words will show that you have knowledge. The lips of another man's wife may be as sweet as honey, and her kisses as smooth as oil. But when it's all over, she leaves you nothing but bitterness and pain. She will take you down to the world of the dead, the road she walks on the road. So it says that what happened before, you see that pleasure thing, what we're talking about was small waist and big butt, and all these things that we find in Liberia that we say it's so ingrained in Liberia. That's in spiritual. That thing is there for, you see, the men, they're not thinking about legacy. They're not thinking about being change agents. They're thinking of gratifying that 2 3 minute 5 minute of whatever that it is, not knowing that when you say no to that, and you move to the next level, foreigners, you now would be the one to put money in the land, not people taking money. So that curse in our country, my people, a long but
yes.
we'll change it. We'll
Thank
change
you,
it.
Wulwyn. Thank you so much. All the very best. We'll be in contact.
Interesting. Yep.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're joining you and saying amen. We agree with your testimony, and we thank God for you and your family. Thank you so much.
Let the church say amen.
Thank
Amen.
you so
We
much
got
for
to
coming
hear
and
it.
sharing
Thank
your
you.
story.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, Lord.
Agatha. Thank you. And you guys rock. I tell you, in your individual work and in your group work, you guys rock. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you, Wulwyn.
Thank you.
Woo wee.
You feel like you went to church, huh?
Yes, but you know what, Agatha?
Mhm.
As I'm listening to him, I don't know if I've told you that I've been thinking about relocating. It's almost like something hits me. It's like
Relocating where?
it's a whole it's this is 2 years. And I'm hearing him talk about it, but it's like this thought has never left me. And it's like I was talking about, I think I talked to you before. Quite a few people have been thinking about moving to where my church is because
Yes.
I've talked about it. I want to be
Yeah.
able to move. And
That I know. Yeah.
it's for 2 years. This thought has been there. And it's like every year come, I plan like, yes, I'm going to move. And then I get to the place where I'm worried about starting over, but I'm already starting over. And then to hear this again, it's almost like there should actually be no reason I should be afraid to take a leap of faith. Because I feel that there's growth for me there. But just hearing him, it's an amazing. I mean, it's like, my
It,
goodness.
I, listen, I'm a realist. For me, it's a bold move,
Yes.
and I'm off the belief that to each his own, and I commend him for it. Not something I would ever do, but I commend him for it because that's his story. That's his book. He's at a different chapter, and that's extremely bold. I see Fasio wrote that I'm speechless. Very, very seldom am I speechless. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I just can phantom someone, and maybe it's the heathen in me. And God has taught the special people. I ain't one of them because he ain't never tapped me nowhere. But I do know that God has a special way of humbling people. And I've
Yes.
been there before. There are things that Wulwyn said that I can certainly relate to. I don't share a lot of my personal in this group, but I will share this just so folks know, because I know a lot of people looking at my facial expression and saying, I can read your face. I don't know how to hide my face. I'm looking at this. I'm like, do something right somewhere. I'm sorry. God ain't tapping no thighs telling you to leave your good, comfortable home and go struggle. But that's happened to him. And I have to respect that. But what I do know for certain, that God has a way of humbling people. If you're not a God believer, that's fine. But the universe, something has a way of humbling people. And that has happened to me. There was a time in my career that my crap couldn't sing. I was the it's SHIT. And you couldn't tell me nothing. Wulwyn said something that kind of hit me. He said, I used to walk in a room and kind of scan people like I make more money than all of y'all. I've been there. But that was some 20 years ago. And I wasn't content. No, I wasn't using what I was given correctly. And I think something happened somewhere. Whoever the provider was, be it God, be it whoever, say, hold on, little girl. If it wasn't for me, you won't have none of this. So all of that, I lost it all, and I had to rebuild. So after rebuilding, I'm a different person. So I'm in a different chapter. But in all of that, and maybe that's not my place to understand, I still don't understand one dropping everything. And for that, that's why I'm speechless. I commend him for it. Mad respect. Anybody that will do that, listen to something internally and say, I have this something, and I have to commend his wife. Can you imagine Mr. Joseph talking about, girl, I go stay in Liberia so I can go dig well. We're leaving our no, we ain't going nowhere, boo. No. So I have to commend his wife as well. and his children. Freeloader and them would be complaining. I remember when Leslie got her first car, we got her one with the wine handle. She said, "What is this? I don't know how to use that." So, all of these things that Wulwyn took from his family is out of respect for what he believes God has called him to do. And mad respect to that, my brother. I ain't got nothing to say with that. So when I say I'm speechless, it's all out of respect, because I know personally that's not something I would be capable of doing. Maybe one day God would tap me on my shoulder too, who knows? But for now, hats off to you, Mr. Porte. Mad respect.
Yeah. And it also too is also faith based. I mean, I look at it different. I believe in his testimony because I've been there. I've come from a place.
Don't get me wrong. I believe in it. I believe him. I just don't understand it. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't believe him. He's living it.
Yeah.
He's not crazy. He's not mad.
Yeah.
He's living it. He's saying, I have so much faith in this God that I serve. I believe he just spoke to me and he wants me to do this. And in addition to that, his life partner, his wife, say, yes, go ahead and do. That's remarkable to me. So when I say I'm speechless, that's why I'm speechless. I am just, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I want to thank God for his testimony, because God does not take you where his grace won't carry you.
Okay.
And it's his grace. I'm telling you, I have a new level for Wulwyn, I swear.
I want to bring him back on the show another time. I want to learn how the ministry is doing after X amount of years, or to see how it's doing. How is the business coming along?
Yes.
All of those things. And I know he shared how he was receiving things and God was providing for him to get there. Now that he's there, I think that's another chapter in the book. I wouldn't mind listening to him and bringing him back. Someone said, please bring him back. Absolutely. I would love to learn about that next phase. Yeah, God provided all of these things. He made provision for you to go. Now you're there. How is it going? I really would like to know,
Most definitely we'll bring him back, because we want to be able to also follow his journey.
Absolutely.
But this is for me, in my personal experience and my Christian walk with God and what I've been through, I understand the brother's testimony. It's faith. It's
amazing.
Yes, amazing faith. And I want to bless God for him, his wife, and his children, because not everybody understand your testimony.
One that he married,
and the wife the wife to understand his testimony and his faith, and to encourage him in his walk with the Lord. Man, I swear. I tell God, thank you for you, Papa. Thank you. Great show today.
Yeah,
interesting show. Do you have mommy there?
Wulwyn got me speechless. I didn't even look for the thing. I was just please find one.
So actually, you'll be amazed at what I turned it out to.
Let's see.
Macy Doma. And what I picked up is, I look at it and I put it down and I wanted to repick. It says, all you need is faith, the size of a mustard seed.
Isn't that coincidental that you would pick that?
I mean, all this is it. I just, because I have the deck of cards every time, and I have it right here. So whenever I can't reach hers, and I just put my hand and pick this up, and it says, all you need is faith, the size of.
Y'all know how small a mustard seed is, right?
Yes, it's almost like, probably need to do some show one day. Just like, maybe not where I got that, but just a show of just testimony.
I see how she said not with me. Fasia, let me tell you, Gladys said, boy, don't try to do what yo.
But it's amazing. It's amazing. But I think it will be a good thing for people to just sit and chat and just talk about their faith in God and what He's like. A Fasia laughing. I ain't say my friend ain't holy. I ain't say that. Oh, I ain't
Listen, I'll be the first one to tell you I'm a sinner because I don't see what your sins be doing behind closed doors.
But let me just say also, you that have watched Wulwyn tonight, I want you to continue to pray for his joining, pray for his family, be a support. If you need to reach him, if you need to support his journey, if God spoke to you and say, yes, I want to be a part of the ministry, a part of the mission that you're doing, please certainly reach out to us. We'll connect you with Wulwyn. We want to be a part of this testimony. We want to be a part of what God can do. And people, there's a cliche. People always say that. A lot of people that say this cliche, and every time I hear them saying it, I don't really think they look at the validity of it, where it says, "What God cannot do does not exist."
Oh yeah,
So
that's the latest thing on Facebook. Everybody posting
yes,
it.
everybody writes it, but you have to understand the context of that, and you really have to mean it. I usually don't. I read it and I like sometimes I read it on some people's page. I'm like, do they even understand what this means?
So why you
But I
judging
wanna
them?
thank God.
Why you judging them? Why you
I'm not.
judging
I
them?
don't judge them. So I just read it and I pass. I'm like,
Yeah, lead the
anyway,
people.
I
Let
don't
them
know
put
that
what they
faith.
want for.
I don't know that faith and I don't know that testimony. But
Exactly.
this is the show today.
Exactly.
One I can say that this is one of a kind of show. One we've probably the first we've ever had. That it has been so I don't even heart wrenching and just so encouraging. And so I want to thank Wulwyn for coming and taking the time off to come and talk to us. Next week, guests. You'll watch, you'll see the picture. He's become a hot. I mean, ironically, we're talking to men and Mothers Month. So we're gonna flip the script in June and talk to women if we can for fathers. But our guest next week is Juan Cooper. He's become hottest for his smoked turkey and smoked chicken. But we're not bringing Juan. Well, we're not bringing Juan on because of that. Juan actually just started a security business in Liberia. So we're going to be talking about him and what he's doing. Also, we're going to be talking, Juan, if you're listening, I hope you have some free chicken to send our way for Mother's Day.
I will gladly accept that.
But on that note, it's a beauty. We miss you. And like I said before we go out, we want to wish all of you a happy Mother's Day. We hope we've done all of our best to celebrate you. Go ahead, Agatha.
Hold up. Someone just reminded me. It is Nurses Week. And we do have a lot of nurses that frequent the show, that active on the page, and our own auntie, the original auntie, is a nurse. And honestly, nurses really don't get enough credit. There's things that they do that doctors can't even do. And they spend more time with the patients than doctors actually do. So yes, on this Nurses Week, I want to thank all of you, including our own auntie. Thank you so much for all you do. Thank you. If we don't say it enough, we want to make sure that we recognize you this week. Thank you to all of the nurses. I mean it from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you so much. And then just to add to that, today, I think they lifted all the stuff on COVID-19. Y'all go read about it.
Please wear your mask. I beg you, especially when you travel. Listen, I was raw dogging it all over the world, and I got COVID, and I got it worse than I ever had it. I was out for 12 days straight.
So don't follow that they lifted those things and forget about yourself, okay? So, folks, we're gonna end with Miata's family mama, and that is our happy Mother's Day treat to all of you. Happy what? Friday what, Agatha?
Oh, it's Happy Friday Eve.
Happy Friday Eve. Until next week, Thursday, we'll be talking to the chicken guy here.
Mama, sweet mama.